They still are working through the various stages of grief on the Democratic side of the aisle over Kamala Harris's resounding defeat in the presidential election. Trump finishes with 312 electoral votes. He won every swing state, all 7 of them. He won the popular vote by over 3 million. He got 50.4% of the vote. So he's got more than, half the voters on his side. He turned states he lost the last time, Nevada and Arizona, by 6 points each. And in some states, Democratic enclaves like New Jersey, New York, and California, he flipped support from 2020 to 2024 double digits. He gained in every state and district in the country except Utah and Washington, D.C. Those are the only 2 areas in the country where Donald Trump did not gain support from 2020 to 2024. What is the anatomy of that? Why did that happen? I've put together a list of 10 factors that I think led to that. They're not ranked. I can't rank them. It's not the David Letterman show. I can't do the top 10 because they all played into it, okay? And they all have many tentacles. And because they all have many tentacles, they all kind of interweave. Some things you say, well, that should belong under a different category. They all belong under the categories I have them. And I don't dispute that they could bleed over into other categories. But just to demonstrate the fact that they still have not gotten over it and they continue to obsess about it. Here is one of Kamala Harris's top fundraisers, Lindy Lee, bemoaning not just Harris's loss, but the way she lost and what she was told ahead of time.
The truth is, this is just an epic disaster. This is a $1 billion disaster. Actually, it was $1.018 billion, I think, right? There were 20 million or $18 million in debt.
Right.
It's incredible. And I raised millions of that. I have friends that I have to be accountable to and to explain what happened because I told them it was a margin of error race. I was promised, Jen O'Malley Dillon promised all of us that Harris would win. She even put videos out saying that Harris would win. I believed her. My donors believed her. And so they wrote massive checks. I feel like a lot of us were misled.
Well, you were misled. You were misled from the very beginning when you and others on the Democratic side told us Joe Biden was sharp as a tack, gets more done in 15 minutes than the rest of us could get done all day, and that Kamala Harris was a fantastic candidate and that she won an open primary, according to Nancy Pelosi and others. So you were misled. But here are some of the factors that I think led to this. Number one, condescension. Just the condescension from Democrats. Some of it was, hey, Biden's great. What are you talking about? He's fantastic. He's smart. He's sharp. Afghanistan was an extraordinary success. Remember that? Don't you dare think that was an embarrassment internationally and weakened us and emboldened Vladimir Putin. No. Condescension was an extraordinary success. By the way, the border is secure too. Might not look like it. You see thousands of migrants coming across, millions. We even fly them into the country. We even came up with our own cool app where we could bring them into the country so we didn't have to shove them across the border because it's getting really crowded down there, crawling under the razor wire, and us suing Texas to keep Texas from enforcing its own border. But the border is secure. Condescension. By the way, I know eggs are up and butter's up and milk is up and gas is up and car insurance rates are up and everything else, but the economy is great. The economy is fantastic. It's the best economy in the world. In fact, there's never been an economy like this. Condescension. And then the ultimate condescension, which we sort of got vibes on. Oh, vibes and joy. That's not condescension. We got vibes of this, but we really got it after the election. And we're still getting it from some people. Americans are too stupid to know what's good for them. See, it bleeds over on the economy. Oh, economy's great. You're too stupid to know it. But like with Harris losing, some people have said, well, just, Americans are racist. Condescension. Americans are misogynist. Condescension. So that's one of the factors. Number two, the Democratic Party has surrendered to psychos. They have surrendered to psychos. The most effective ad Donald Trump ran. The most effective ad he ran. Kamala is for they, them. President Trump is for you. This was not a hard attack ad to dismiss. All she had to do was come out and go, look, I know I'm on tape advocating for transgender surgeries at taxpayer expense in California, but looking back, that was a really stupid decision. And I am never going to advocate for that. And in fact, it is ridiculous that men play women's sports. Biological men should not be allowed in women's sports. I've consistently fought for women all throughout my career. I'm on the record on that. I made a mistake on this, but she can't do that. Why can't she do that? Because they've surrendered to psychos. Because she would have lost a significant portion of her voter base if she had done that. They surrendered to psychos on college campuses. Terrorist-loving students. Many of them queers for Palestine. Well, you're lucky you're not queer in Palestine, or you'd be hanging from the top of a crane. Or you couldn't hang from the top of a crane because your head would be chopped off. Surrender to psychos. Another factor. Tim Walz as vice president? Tim Walz? Like I've said before, for years on this show, Republicans will be fine in the future because we have a deep bench. We've got Wesley Hunt, we've got Byron Donalds, we've got Tom Cotton, we've got Josh Hawley, we've got J.D. Vance, on and on and on. We got Winsome Sears, we got Glenn Youngkin, we got Bernie Moreno. We are fine. Who do they have? They have a collection of old people and lunatics. Chuck Schumer, Nancy Pelosi, Joe Biden, AOC, Ilhan Omar, Pramila Jayapal, Gretchen Whitmer. You can walk down this aisle at Walmart, but not that one. Gavin Newsom, Governor Hairgel. You say, wait a minute, what about Josh Shapiro? He would be great, except he's Jewish. And y'all hate Jews because you've surrendered to psychos. Another factor. Let's not absolve our bumbling, stumbling, sand in my boots president, Joe Biden, straight from the beach in Delaware. He got elected by a razor-thin margin that was highly suspicious, given rampant mail-in voting, which is rife with the possibility for fraud. Did I navigate that tightrope good enough for you, YouTube? And assumed that he had been elected with a Ronald Reagan landslide. And that he was thus going to be, because he has always believed his own inflated ego, he was going to be the next LBJ or the next FDR. And so he spent and spent and spent and surrendered to psychos. And he decided, we'll just throw the border wide open. We'll just throw the border wide open. We will withdraw from Afghanistan on 9/11. That'll be a great way to celebrate the 20-year anniversary of 9/11. We'll withdraw. We'll put our tail between our legs and we'll run. We'll give the Taliban Bagram Air Force Base and the billions of dollars in military equipment so they can hold a really nice parade about blowing up 12 of our service members, which caused my approval ratings to tank and never recover. Joe Biden's ego, never more impactful on this election that we just had than him deciding that it would be a great idea for him to run for re-election, thus robbing the Democrats of an open primary where they might have selected somebody better than Kamala Harris. We'll get to her. Trust me on that. But think about this. If Biden and the Democrats had not used mail-in voting to assist, wink, wink, in their election victory in 2020, if Trump had won in 2020, he would have had to deal with a Democratic House and a Democratic Senate. He would have got nothing done, and every COVID death the Democrats could lay at his feet from now until forever. Instead, he returns to the White House with majorities in Congress because Joe Biden and his ego got in the way. Another factor.